republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we did have first on our agenda to have a special joint public hearing with our planning board, but the applicant has notified us that they've been pursuing a approval from New York State Department of DEC, and they're not quite there yet. So the planning board will re-advertise, and for us, we will open the public hearing and then adjourn it for 60 days. So do I have a motion to open public hearing to consider a special use permit for Lidl?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing now open. Do I have a motion to adjourn this public hearing until the June 2024 town board meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing will be adjourned. Thank you. Okay, tonight we do have our chairman of our CAC, Conservation Advisory Council, Brent Feldwig. He's going to give us a brief presentation. Sir Feldwig, how are you? Come right up to the podium. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, yes. Yeah, thank you for entertaining me tonight and, hearing about what we're up to. Again, CAC, just so everybody knows, is a volunteer organization in the town that specializes and kind of focuses on conservation issues, land and water and the environmental aspects of things that come before the town. But before I get into my presentation, I wanted to make sure to invite all of you guys here and everybody in town to our Arbor Day celebration, which is happening this Saturday over at the facility on Nancy Drive, or over, the Davis House. We're going to be planting some trees and doing some crafts, so we'd love to have everybody there from that's able to make that beginning at 9. So what I wanted to come to speak to you guys about tonight, I'm going to take my hat off from the CAC and put my hat on as the Vice President of the Fishkill Creek Watershed Alliance. And that is a new organization that we've just restarted that is a cross-municipal organization of CACs and other town officials, volunteers, interested folks in the community, and really the driving issue and the core purpose of the organization is to promote good conservation measures in the Fishkill Creek watershed. The watershed includes 11 towns and villages around the lower part of the county here, from Beacon up to a tiny little piece of Pleasant Valley, and a couple of towns in Putnam County too. So we're just getting the organization started. One of the first things we want to do, and we're asking for support from each town in the watershed, is to designate the Fishkill Creek as an official inland waterway. Okay, and what that's going to do, it's a program that's been run by the Department of State in New York State, and it basically enrolls the Fishkill Creek along with many other water bodies in New York State on an official registry, and it then makes us more eligible for grant money. And anything conservation, involving always takes funds. There's a lot of grant money out there. One of the main vehicles for funding environmental projects is the Environmental Protection Fund that's been funded by real estate transactions, but run by the DEC. And enrolling the Fishkill Creek watershed in that list of other waterways will get us higher on the priority list for those grants. So there's no mandates that are involved with enrolling on the list. It basically just increases our chances of getting grant money and increases us on the ladder of who's going to get awarded the funding. The nice thing about preserving a creek or preserving a water body, not only do you get, advantages of wildlife and, good scenery and all the advantages of having, healthy water in the town, But it also affects groundwater, okay? Aquifers recharge through wetlands and also creeks. So if we keep the Fishkill Creek, take some actions to make the Fishkill Creek healthy in our town and the other towns in the watershed, we're going to have an indirect but positive impact on groundwater and, preserving that. So what I'm going to hand out to you guys on the board here is just a little summary of what I talked about. Here, you can pass that down. And the second page of this summary has a list of the other water bodies in New York State that are already on the designated inland waterways list. And you can see there's a lot that are here in the Hudson Valley, and there's a bunch up in the Adirondacks. So this is a program that has become quite popular and will really, give us some good advantage to, again, get higher on the list for that grant money. So what I'm asking you guys to do, in your list of resolutions is a resolution to support, just basically, pledging the town's support to take this action. The action is very simple. We have to have a vote in the state assembly and a vote in the state senate that adds Fishkill Creek to that designated list of water bodies in the state. Questions?
Questions from the board? Pretty straightforward.
It is, yeah.
Pretty important, especially like Mr. Felwig said, when we do our applications for grant applications for the Fishkill Creek, all the other municipalities who are involved will take part as well.
Yeah, and what we're hoping to create is involvement in all the municipalities along the creek and the watershed, and have some consistent, watershed maintaining and improving guidelines. Right now, the DEC is doing a program that they're doing a 2-year sampling program with us on some segments of the Fishkill Creek that they haven't sampled. The segments are the middle segment and the upstream segment. Basically, the segment in East Fishkill and then up into Unionvale are the ones that are going to be concentrating on. So we're going to be getting some good data on what's going on in the creek, both chemically and biologically. So we'll have some good resources to look at there.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
our second resolution is just for that, designate Fishkill Creek Inland Waterway.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, Mr. Felwig. Makes it easy on me to explain the resolution when it comes up. And thank you for all you do as well, sir, for
Yes.
volunteering on our CAC for many years. How long now?
Oh, I've lost count. It's got to be close now to 20.
Wow. Well, thank you. And also, of course, lead our Arbor Day celebration every year as well. Look forward to that for Saturday.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. So just a few brief announcements before we begin. As usual, I started this month at the Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors Association meeting. This month we were in the town of LaGrange. We did have a few guest speakers. We had one of the lieutenants from the New York State Police, Troop K, come speak to us about a variety of items, things about New York State Police patrolling throughout the county, throughout all the different municipalities in Dutchess County. And we're fortunate here in East Fishkill to have 2 substations, one on I-84 in Stormville and the other right off of Hosner Mountain Road in Hopewell. And it's helpful to us. We have our own police department, thank God, but in the case of backup, we do have them here in our town, 2 locations. We also had New York class come and give a presentation to supervisors and mayors. And like I always say, Supervisors and Mayors Association, great association to be part of. We help out each other tremendously, sharing all different information, resolutions, laws, what have you, whatever different towns are looking for. We help each other. And I've been speaking to a few supervisors and mayors, actually one mayor from Putnam County, and we had a little meeting together to see if they were interested to joining our Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors Association. Putnam County does not have one. They are very interested. They would love the collaboration. And this month, I'll be sharing that with our association to see if we can include them. Probably within the next few months, we'll vote on that and include them. Putnam County, we have shared a lot with them. Actually, the Dutchess County, it used to be the Putnam Dutchess County's Traffic Safety Board, which is now the Safety Council for Dutchess County. They separated because ours became larger. I know our highway superintendents also include Putnam County, several towns in Putnam County. I know our sheriff's, Dutchess County Sheriff's Office does a lot with the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. So these two counties, we're close, we share the border, and it's going to be wonderful to have them. Our comprehensive master plan, as you know, we've been discussing this many, many times since October. We're in the midst of revising the plan. Councilperson Flores, she's our liaison to the master plan committee and puts in a lot of time with it. Thank you, councilperson, for that. Last Thursday, we had our East Fishkill Economic Development Committee host a public outreach meeting for all the business owners in East Fishkill to give them an update to our comprehensive master plan. Because a lot of our local businesses and commercial property owners, they actually don't live in town, so they don't get the information as readily available as our residents do. We had a terrific turnout. It was right here in this meeting room, packed house. Our planner, Michelle Robbins, gave a presentation, and then we had a very lengthy question and answer period. And many questions they asked, mostly about traffic mitigation, traffic fixes for the hamlet, how this will affect the businesses. But really, it was an excellent meeting. I'm so thankful for all the businesses to come out and take part in this, and that's what it's about. We want as much feedback as we possibly can for our comprehensive master plan revision. I'd like to thank our Economic Development Director, Patrick Manning, for help setting this up, getting a lot of businesses to come as well as Councilman Marinaro. He got to beat the drum for us to get a lot of businesses to attend. The whole town board attended as well. Thank you all for attending that as well. Our chairman of the planning board, John Eichman, and other members of the CPC joined us as well that night. And of course, thank you to our Economic Development Committee for listening to all the businesses and putting their input in as well. It's a big undertaking, as I've been mentioning many, many times, and more help we get, the better. So thank you to all. I attended the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce's monthly contact breakfast they had up in Poughkeepsie. This month, their guest speaker was our new county executive, Sue Serino. She gave an overview of her State of the County address. The county executive has many different social programs planned. She discussed that with all of us. One thing I was a little bit surprised not to see a lot of in her State of the County address was economic development. And since the room was filled with all business owners, I was surprised that wasn't more of a focus. I understand that social programs are necessary, are needed. Of course they are. There's a lot of mental health, a lot of different necessities that people need that they can't afford. Homeless shelters, like I said, all these for unfortunate people that need them. We need to have these programs, but how do we pay for those? We need to have tax dollars come and pay for those. So how does the county pay for items? County only pays for items through our property taxes and sales tax. That's the majority. Those are their two main revenue streams. So in my mind, if you don't have a strong economic development plan to put forward to help pay for these programs, I think you get yourself into a precarious situation. But I'm not the county executive. But she did give a nice presentation. Thank you to her. And of course, the Regional Chamber of Commerce do a tremendous job. There's a packed house. There was probably 300 people there, all business owners. They had a lot of questions. I'm sure the county executive has plans for economic development, which I'm going to be meeting with her about very shortly. So thank you to the Chamber again for hosting that. The New York State Department of Transportation had a meeting with Dutchess County Parks, Metro North, and my team of engineers and myself to discuss a revised plan for the Route 82 bridge removal. They revised the plan after we had a lot of input at our last meeting, which was several months ago. Dutchess County and the town, we just want to make sure that a few things get incorporated into the plan, one being the rail trail connection. The Department of Transportation wants to have an at-grade crossing for the rail trail. The rest of us, the county and the town, would like to see a culvert tunnel on 376 to facilitate the crossing for the rail trail. It's much better, much safer, so the DOT will be revising that, taking a look at that as well again. Also, we have a proposal for them for a relocation of Route 376 at the spot where the bridge is right now. This comes with many different hurdles. The number one hurdle, of course, is funding. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have, the town has, the county has, the state DOT has, to fix some of these big traffic problems we have in the hamlet. On 376, we know those two terrible dogleg turns that are there. It plagues that corridor, many accidents in that location. We have been discussing with a few consultants about the potentially to assist us to get more funding for the DOT to incorporate this fix into their plan and also help us with Metro North. We need their approval as well. Like I said, there's many different state agencies involved here. It takes a tremendous amount of coordination and expertise. I'm thankful for our engineering staff for all they do, our traffic consultants, Hudson Valley Engineering. We're at a critical juncture here in the hamlet. And with the bridge removal, with the rail trail crossing, the possible relocation of 376, there's a tremendous amount of people all that are in that area. Right now, the rail trail at our peak, we have over 286,000 people traversing the rail trail right at that location. Why? It's the head of the Dutchess County Rail Trail, and it's at the head of the Empire State Trail, the Maybrook line. So those converge right in Hopewell Junction. So we got to get this right. Metro North, the Department of Transportation, the town, the county, we have to work together. We have to get this right. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're going to keep fighting until we get the plan that we believe is the best for the town. So I'll keep everybody updated as we move along with that. Thank you to our rec directors, Christine Selbeck and Bill Green, and also Ramesh Merchandani, who sits on our Economic Development Committee. We had a new concert at the East Fishkill Library it was our classical music concert series now. We had the Howland Chamber Music Circle. They did a great job. They came with a quartet. They played for over an hour. Packed house, over 100 people at the library. The library didn't expect that many, neither did we, but wonderful to see. They held it at the rotunda at the library, which was perfect for with the acoustics they have with the rotunda. And the library was excited to have another one, which is going to be on May 10th. So please, if you didn't make this one, try to come. It was really nice to have something different here to offer for our concert series, so try to get there. I had a meeting with the Hopewell Depot and several members of their committee, the Depot group, as well as their president, Dave Furman, along with Dutchess County Parks Director, Suzanne O'Neill. They're looking to do a few changes at the depot. They're looking for signage changes, additional signage to be put on, and possibly the availability of having a water fountain on the trail. We've been looking at different funding sources for this water fountain. It is quite expensive, much more expensive than I would think a water fountain would need. They're going to be tapping the Dutchess County water line right there, and I guess there's a lot of equipment to be put in. They have to put backflow preventers and to make sure that it's done correctly, so I guess that's where all the money comes from. That's where all the expense comes from. Now, where are we going to get the money? We're applying for different grants. We're hoping Dutchess County can help. Dutchess County has their own woes right now. They're looking at a $19 million deficit for this year and almost a $40 million deficit for next year. So I don't know where we're going to get any funding from Dutchess County, but we will be looking at some state sources for funding, and perhaps the town could also invest some money for a water fountain at the location of the depot on the trail. There's no other location to get water on the rail trail except up in Poughkeepsie. So this would be a very advantageous point of stop for all the people that traverse it. There is our bathrooms there as well. They say those are the nicest bathrooms on the whole rail trail, which is great. So if we could add this water fountain, would be a great feature. So I'll keep everybody updated to that. We had a meeting with the residents of the Four Corners Water District to discuss with them some potential fixes to their water system. We've had a few issues there at Four Corners. Several years ago, we lost one of their best producing wells. We've been trying to replace it the last few years. We did dig another well. We dug 2 wells, actually. One wasn't usable because of the water color, the health department said, and the second well we dug just wasn't a big generator of water, not as many gallons as the well that went out of service. So we wanted to explain this to the residents, as we have in the past, but also we do have a plan, and tonight we have a public hearing to discuss interconnections of 6 different water districts, Four Corners being one of them, and that's our long-term goal. Our long-term goal is to interconnect all the water systems that the town runs eventually, and this will be a big step forward for that plan. We were expecting more people from Four Corners. I'm sorry that there weren't more people to come, but thank you for the ones that did come. And tonight we'll go through the proposal for the interconnection and how it will improve each water district that will take part in this plan. So thank you to our engineering staff, Scott Bryan, our town engineer, George Cronk, our assistant engineer. George gave a great presentation. And thank you to the town board members that came that night as well. I attended a meeting at the iPark main offices right off of Route 52. The former supervisor of the town of Wappinger, Dr. Richard Thurston, held a meeting there. In his previous life, Dr. Thurston, he was the chief attorney for TSMC, which is a Taiwan Semiconductor. They're the largest semiconductor company in the world. He's trying to put together a large project at iPark, and he's calling it the Hudson Valley Fast Fab. They will be acquiring one of the buildings at iPark that currently has a clean room available. They're going to utilize that for research and development. This Fast Fab, they will incorporate sensors with the microchips. He had the consulate generals from Canada, from Italy, because there's 2 companies, international companies, that will also be taking part, an Italian sensor company and a Canadian packaging company. I guess this is how they do these microchips and these sensors, how they package them together. It's a big deal. I don't know all the details about that, but what I do know is that if this comes, it's going to bring a tremendous amount of jobs and great paying jobs. Currently, they are applying for the Federal CHIPS Act for about $2 billion. This will be about a $2.5 billion investment for East Fishkill. And like I said, it'll be wonderful paying jobs, just like ON Semiconductor has here. And it's exciting, very exciting to see. Hopefully this will come to fruition, and I'll keep everybody updated as we move along. And I had a meeting today with Dutchess County Transportation Council. Usually we meet every 2 months. East Fishkill being one of the largest towns in Dutchess County, we're a permanent member. This month they had an overview of a traffic mitigation plan they have up in the city of Poughkeepsie on the arterial. And also they discussed the new rail trail potential that will connect East Fishkill and Beacon. I've discussed this many times. I sit on that committee as well for this new rail trail. They're still gathering information for this. There are many road crossings and many challenges, but right now they're in the midst of this committee doing a feasibility study, which isn't complete yet, but the Transportation Council also takes part of that. And like I said earlier in my comments, where the depot sits now, we have 2 main trails that converge. This will be 3 main trails that converge right there. The Dutchess County Rail Trail, the Maybrook line, the Empire Trail, and now this new line that'll go to Beacon. So, like I said before, we have over 280,000 people traversing the trail at that location. This will just increase that. That's why over the past few years we've been trying to increase the amount of availability for these people to get into our hamlet. Very important for our local businesses to take advantage of all these people using the rail trail, and it's just an asset for us. It's wonderful to see, and it's not only wonderful for the town, the residents, and for our local businesses. So thank you all that help out with that. And with that, Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Franco? Present. Councilman Marinero?
Present.
Councilman Arco?
Present.
Person Flores?
Present.
Supervisor D'Alessandro?
Present. Thank you, Clerk. Everybody has received the March 28, 2024 minutes. Any changes, alterations, Clerk?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve the March 28, 2024 minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved, thank you. Do have two additions to the agenda. We'll do those at the end. One is to appoint a seasonal laborer for the Highway Department, and the other is to add appoint members to the Rec Advisory Board. Okay, courtesy of the floor, this is a part of the meeting where we have any residents come up, speak about any general town issues. Any comments on our agenda or questions, please come up, use the podium, use the microphone. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, public hearing. George, I almost forgot the public hearing. Maybe that was by design.
George would kill you.
We were going to see how long you were going to go before me.
Everybody's on George.
I got 20 minutes.
Okay, do I have a motion to open a public hearing to consider joint increase improvements of the facilities of various water districts?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing now open. So like I mentioned in my comments, we are applying for several grants. We have an earmark, which the assistant engineer will get into. This is to interconnect 6 different water districts in the town of East Fishkill. Like I also mentioned, that's our goal, is to interconnect all the different systems in the town to give redundancy. When wells go down, what have you, we have redundancy for all the different districts, and that will be a tremendous, tremendous goal to have. Right now, this will be our first step. It'll interconnect 6 systems. So, Mr. Engineer, how are you tonight?
Doing great,
Would you like to start your presentation?
certainly. So tonight, we're holding a public hearing specifically for the Beekman Water District, the Four Corners Water District, the Hopewell Hamlet Water District, the Hopewell North Water District, the Little Switzerland Water District, and the Pinewood Knolls Water District. So each one of those has a public water supply number associated with them, as you can see on the screen. So specifically for the public hearing, we prepared a map plan report, which has been available to the public. We went through a scheduling and advertisement process, which our town clerk has completed and has attested to. And tonight we will be performing our public hearing to meet the requirements of Article 12, Section 202 of our state law for special districts. Prior to tonight, actually on July 20, 2023, we completed our seeker determination, and that was done at the time when we were applying for grant funds for these different parts of these projects. The way these public hearings are set up is we will be seeking the maximum bond amount for the project, so that's the maximum estimated funds that we would be seeking. But as we get through the presentation, you'll see that it is not our intention to utilize all of those bond funds with the grants that we've received. So the maximum we are seeking is $16,728,197. And we're going to get into exactly which districts are are being assigned those various amounts of those funds. And for most people, if you don't know, when you have a special district, only the district can receive the funds that we're generating from this bond, and only the districts that received those funds can pay those back. So if you're not in one of these districts, you would not be responsible for paying back the funds that are being borrowed for these construction projects.
And just to reiterate, we have to bond the full amount.
Yeah.
Okay, by law, we have to bond the full amount, even though it's not going to cost us that because we have grant money and a congressional earmark. Whatever the final amount is we spend, that's what we end up borrowing. But we have to pass a bond resolution for the full amount to accommodate the state law.
So we're going to give an overview of where the costs are, who's going to be responsible for the reimbursements, and then we'll certainly open up for any questions at the back end of this. So the objectives of this project, which includes all 6 districts, is to resolve several outstanding Department of Health violations that we have with some of our districts, and we'll get into those details. It's also to ensure that we have drinking water that remains safe and available. As we do these interconnections, we want to make sure that we're not drawing too much water from our existing districts to help support other districts that may need water on a temporary basis. Part of the purpose of this project is to restore water that I'm calling lost water right now. This is wells that we've had to turn off because we've found contamination in them. If you've followed our presentations, informational sessions over the last couple of years, we have had several wells that have had emergent contaminants. It's a very popular topic. The EPA just came out with a recent ruling to even lower those standards even more. So we're trying to stay ahead of these standard requirements and make sure that we have sufficient amount of water and to treat some of those wells where it's appropriate. And of course, one of our town objectives that we've been working on for several years is to create a resilient or redundancy in our existing system. So again, a good example is last year, or 2 years ago, we interconnected, say, the Brett U District and the Fishkill Plains District with Hopewell Glen, and we needed to take our Fishkill Plain wells offline to do some redevelopment work for them because they've been in use for several years and their production was dropping. And we were able to use water from the Hopewell Glen for a few months while that work was going on. And that's exactly the way this system is set up and intended to be used. So it was a great example of no one was losing water on severe restrictions during that rehabilitation time period. So a brief history on each one of the districts. We are required to mention a little bit about each one of the districts, so I know we have 6 of them tonight. So the Hopewell Hamlet, this is actually the first water district that was operated by the town. There's about 90 accounts or 90 users, as we refer to them. In the 2020, 2021, we actually shut down the 4 original wells that were part of that system. Fortunately, we had our Cannon wells, which had been put online a few years before we had to do this shutdown. So we didn't see a loss in usability of water immediately, but we do want to bring those wells back online. In the Four Corners Water District, this was originally a privately owned system. The developer WCI went bankrupt at some point, and the town now owns that water system. It was actually purchased at a price. There is a bond that that water district is paying off right now. So when that system was approved by the Department of Health, they had 3 wells. Well 1A, which had 145 gallon per minute flow rate, had to come offline back in 2014, and we've tried several techniques to try to bring that well back. We've re-drilled the well, we've added a casing, we've looked at different treatment options, and the bottom line is we're not able to use that well and meet the New York State Department of Health standards, drinking water standards. We drilled well 5 over the last few years, which is a very, very long process. It sounds very simple here, but this takes multiple years to get a well drilled and approved through the state. That well brought us 64 gallons per minute, which obviously is not even close to the 145 gallons a minute, so we're still short water in that district. So one of our Department of Health violations is that we don't have the adequate source that was approved when the development was originally approved and constructed. So we are going to present an option tonight that we believe is going to be a solution that will solve their problems for the long term. That district has 266 users, mostly residential. There are 18 homes in the town of Beekman. That is part of the water supply system. And as with everybody else in the town of East Fishkill, all of those homes that are in the town of Beekman pay their fair share of water usage each month as well.
They will pay as well.
Yes. They actually get charged as an out-of-district user, so they actually pay a premium for that water. So Hopewell North is one of the districts that we're going to speak of tonight. This was actually a district that was funded and built by the EPA and handed over to the town in recent times. It was installed to address a groundwater contamination issue on Ryan Drive. And it has about 303 users, is what our records show right now. And again, most of that is residential users. Beekman Water District was originally a privately owned water system that the town purchased about 10 years ago, 15 years ago maybe. And the district has 2 wells that are in what we call the Beekman well field, and we share that well field with the Beekman Golf Course. They're completely owned, the wells are completely owned separately, but the town has 2 wells in that location. And just for a point of information, all water in New York State is actually regulated by the state. So all the rights associated with who can have water, who can't have water is determined by the DEC, and they issue permits for that water that we use. And that's the same with all of our districts, that's the same across the entire state. Little Switzerland is another district that we're going to be looking to interconnect. This district was taken over taken ownership by the town in about 1995. There are 136 users over there. It's one of our older systems in the district. Pinewood Knolls is the last district we're going to talk about. Pinewood Knolls, again, is a district that we've owned for a long time, since back to 1982. We have 2 wells at that district, and both wells have shown PFAS, or emerging contaminants in both of their wells, and we've received health department violations based upon that. So right now in New York State, the MCL, or the maximum contaminant level, is 10 parts per trillion. Both those wells exceed that at various times throughout the year. So we are, in reality, this will actually be our first phase, because we want to rectify this situation as quickly as possible. In 2023, the Department of Health and the town had multiple meetings to talk about how to resolve their contamination issues, and we're going to present what we feel is the best option moving forward on that. So specifically, this is what we're going to do in each one of the districts. We do have to cover this in the public hearing. So in the Hopewell Hamlet Water District, we're going to resolve all of the health department violations that we have. So specifically, we are going to look to restore the water loss at the 4 Hamlet wells. What we're doing is we are currently performing a pilot test at these locations for a treatment practice called ion exchange. And this is a practice that's used very heavily throughout the United States as well as overseas. So it's a very proven technology to use for this type of treatment. We will need to construct a small building to put these filters and canisters in. And then, of course, we got to build the filtering system for these wells. And it will be set up to filter the 4 wells that are existing there. At Four Corners, we're going to be establishing a new water source offsite. So specifically, we're going to be drilling a well at the Beekman well field that I mentioned earlier. There's an adequate supply there to supply not only the Beekman Water District, the golf course needs, but also it'll be able to provide some water for the Four Corners Water District. Once the well is constructed, we will then extend a water line down Beekman Road, most likely. We don't have a final alignment worked out, but that would then interconnect into the Four Corners District to make up their shortage of water that they have. They will continue to operate with what I would consider a reasonable amount of irrigation, which would be, say, 3 to 5 times per week to irrigate your properties, but not what some people might consider an unlimited amount of water, which could be hundreds of thousands of gallons. So there are still some boundaries with this new water source.
So let me ask you, eventually, obviously, like all these other water districts the town ends up owning, we're going to be passing, once you run that line, Sagamore. We currently run the sewer, but not the water. So when we do, it will be easier to interconnect them, right?
Yeah, so actually part of the plan in this interconnection is to leave a location for a connection in the future. And Sagamore would then be able to interconnect in. In the event that the town takes that ownership of that district, that would be part of the project right from the start.
Excellent.
Again, I don't want to I would not recommend taking on any districts that we don't have a way to have a backup supply to,
Right.
almost from the start, or at least have.
Well, sometimes we get no choice.
That is true, that is true. You know, so there are other options of possibly adding an extra well, which is a requirement we added to our laws last year, I believe.
Yes.
To help that redundancy component.
Thank you.
Hopewell North and Little Switzerland, both these districts, we're basically looking to interconnect them. If you know the district's layouts, they actually share the same piece of property where the wells and storage tanks are actually located on the same properties, and they're literally 50 to 100 feet apart from each other. So it seems like a very straightforward option to connect these. It's actually the three districts, Hopewell North, Little Switzerland, and Beekman together. So we're about to start our engineering analysis of that to see, to make sure that it's feasible with the pressures and make sure that all of that would interconnect. And again, the purpose is not to replace any existing district's water supply, your current water source. So if you live in the Hopewell North Water District, you would continue to get your water exactly from the same source you get it today. But in the event that we have an emergency or some long-term repair that we needed to take care of, or extended repair, you would be able to share those waters between those districts.
Do you want to fast forward to page 85? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Still got 8 minutes. Beekman Water District, we're going to be installing a new well over there again to support the Four Corners, as well as to support the Beekman Water District itself. So the Beekman Water District was originally designed for about 100 to 120,000 gallons per day worth of water flow. The community has built out pretty much to 100% at this point. I think it has expanded a little bit beyond what the original design when they did the water system was. So we're going to look to make sure that they have a sufficient amount of water moving forward and they don't have a shortage. That project will include updating the water treatment building that's there right now. So if you've ever golfed on the golf course, you pass by it at one of the holes. We are going to replace the generator, and we're going to look into improving the water storage tank on that site as well. Pinewood Knolls is the last district that we'll be doing work at, and the decision here is to actually abandon the wells 1 and 2 for this particular district. It's a relatively small district, and then we're going to interconnect them on Route 82, so they'd be interconnected to the Hopewell North Water District, and their supply would come from the Cannon wells. And that was part of the purpose of putting in the Cannon wells, was to be able to supply some of the various entities around town. Just real quick note, as part of the Pinewood Knolls Water District, we will be extending the water line to the Clove Branch Apartments to satisfy an unsatisfactory water quality issue that those apartments are having as well. We've been working with that property owner as well as the Department of Health to come to a solution that will help. And we'll get to the grants, we'll get back into that ever so slightly. So we did break the project up into 4 different phases. We have the Pinewood Knolls interconnection, that's our highest priority, simply because that has the most immediate need and the most risk of health concerns that we have for the residences there. Phase 2 would include finishing a ion exchange treatment program for the Hamlet wells, and then install a permanent treatment system over there. Phase 3 is the improvements to the Beekman site. That would include drilling the well and, of course, upgrading the generator and the treatment building itself. Phase 4 is the various interconnections that we've been talking about. So that would be the interconnection between Beekman and Four Corners, as well as the interconnection between Hopewell North, Little Switzerland, and the Beekman Water Districts. We have a schedule in place here. Obviously, we would start this in 2024 is the plan, and if we get all of our approvals in a timely fashion, we would ideally be in construction or nearing the end of construction in 2026. Again, phase 1, we would like to see completed by the end of this year, and moving forward, each of the other phases would move forward. So let's talk cost, because that's part of the purpose of the public hearing. So We broke down each phase with an estimated cost for each part, and Phase 1 has a $2.8 million value, Phase 2 has a $2.2 million value, Phase 3 has a $3.7, and Phase 4, all the interconnections, has a $7.9 million value for all their work, coming to a total of about $16.7 million worth of costs. That includes all design, all construction inspection, and obviously all the construction and certifications. Here's a little bit of a breakdown between each of the phases. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but essentially, the numbers I gave you, we just broke it down into each of the main components for each of the districts. So for instance, just as an example, the interconnections for the Beekman-Hopewell North would be about $500,000. The interconnections between Beekman and Little Switzerland would be about $800,000. And the interconnection between Beekman and Four Corners would be $6.6 million, just as an example. We take the cost of each one of those projects and we divided it into what each of the district's responsibilities would be. For instance, if you're Pinewood Knolls, you're going to be paying for that interconnection all the way to your districtors. For instance, the Four Corners districts would not be paying for water lines associated with the Pinewood Knolls district. So we have a breakdown here again. The total comes to the $16.7 million. Just a quick note, the highest cost on this is Four Corners at 8.4. The lowest, the two lowest is Little Switzerland and Hopewell North at $200,000 and $500,000.
Get to the good part.
All right. So the good part is that we've spent a lot of effort looking at ways to not have our residents have to pay that entire $16 million price tag. So Congressman Lawler secured a $2 million congressional allocation for the Pinewood Knolls project. And what really helped that project get the funding is it included the Pinewood Knolls Water District, which is a public water district, as well as the private Clove Branch. So that was a big part of their set of requirements. They were looking for a public-private type relationship. So it was very helpful for us to have both those entities at that location. We also applied to New York State through what's called the WIA funds or the WIA grants, and we received a $5 million grant. That's the maximum you can receive for this type of program, and we can apply both those grants or both those sets of funds to our project. I'll show you how we break that down. We also worked with our comptroller as well as our engineering department and legal department to look at other ways that we can manage our costs in-house versus necessarily hiring out-of-house services. So we will be looking to our own staff to be performing some of the construction inspection, our own staff to help with some of the, securing our financing bonds, et cetera. So again, we believe that we've got between a $1 and a $2.5 million savings that we can apply across the projects. So when you apply all the grants, specifically this is the WIA grant, we took every single project phase, broke it out, and everybody got a 30% allocation towards their project, which is a pretty healthy allocation when you look at some of these size of projects. For instance, the interconnection with Beekman and Four Corners got almost a $2 million allocation from the WIA grant, so that's great. Secondly, the Lawler assignment or appropriation has to be assigned specifically to that project. That was a requirement, is it has to be assigned to that component. So the $2 million went to that. So when we get later on to the user costs, you'll see why they will benefit from that. So this table here provides a breakdown of each water district and what the maximum cost per district would be responsible for, and then what we believe the adjusted amount is. And I just want to be clear on this. This is very much like the supervisor said in the beginning, this is what we believe or we estimate that the reductions could be. So if for some reason the federal government changes their appropriations that they gave us, that would have an impact on the allocations that we've assigned in here. So in this case here, you can see, for instance, the Beekman Water District went from a $1.5 million obligation, hopefully down to a $1.2 million obligation. I'll go to a bigger one here. So Pinewood Knolls went from a $2.8 million obligation, or, yeah, $2.8 million obligation down to a $250,000 obligation. So that was a huge swing for that particular district. So at the end of the day, everybody wants to know what's it going to cost me because I live in one of these districts. And that's the next part of this presentation. So when we calculate what your average water bill will be based on each year, we actually base it upon a 13,500 gallon usage per quarter, or about 54,000 gallons per year, which is a pretty typical amount for an average family. If you irrigate, if you take long showers, if you find other ways to use water, it will go up from there. So if you had a family of 10 people, you're probably going to be above this number. So the user cost is the cost of the operations and maintenance, often called the water usage, plus the cost of any existing debt. So several of these districts do have some existing debt on the books that is being paid off, as well as the new debt, and that's really what we're talking about here today. So in all of these districts, we use a user cost-based program or system, and that's based upon every single family home having a single benefit unit assigned to them. Obviously, the existing debt and the new debt will vary by districts, as we've laid out, and these calculations are based on a 30-year bond at a 5% term. The actual bond will be, the final bond will be formed when the construction of the project is at its end or nearing its end, so that rate will change a little bit. So these estimates will change a little bit.
And just so everybody knows at home, whenever interest rates drop, it doesn't matter what water district you're in, whatever debt the town has in different departments, whatever it is, we always look to refinance as quickly as possible to gain the best rate we possibly can.
So for all of our districts, I do have to lay this out. It's part of our benefit units. You can see your district here as an example. Pinewood Knolls has 44 benefit units. Hopewell North has 445.7 benefits units, so you can imagine the size difference between these districts. A benefit unit is roughly 300 gallons per day of usage, and that's not exact, but that generally across all of our districts, that's about what it is. So the operation and maintenance or usage charges that we have, again, this is based upon the estimated water usage that you have in your districts right now, varies from about $318 per benefit unit all the way up to $675. And again, Pinewood Knolls is a small district, so your denominator, I believe, on the bottom of the division is fewer because it's only 44 folks. So, the existing debt in some of these districts ranges. Hopewell Hamlet and Hopewell North have no existing debt right now that they're servicing. Beekman has 269. And again, this is per benefit unit. Four Corners is servicing 260 or 279. And then Pinewood Knolls is already servicing $763. And again, that's simply because there's per year. Per year. What did I say?
It's not the total debt.
Oh, no, that's per benefit unit per year. Yes, sorry. So this chart is, or table is very helpful. This would show you what the maximum project cost could be per district, and then what your total cost would be for that district. So I'm just going to pick, say, Hopewell North as an example. Right now, their maximum, their total annual cost would be $592.58 per year. You can see down here at the bottom, Pinewood Knolls, again, this is without any grant allocations. They would have a cost of $5,591 per benefit unit. That's a large number. So we obviously applied this and represented what we believe the reduced cost or the adjusted cost would be. Just to use those two sources. Hopewell North would be $567 on an annual basis per benefit unit, and Pinewood Knolls would be about $1,800 per benefit unit. So it is expensive for some of these districts in the sense that there is a range here going on, but we've certainly tried to acquire as many grants and reductions that we can find. So in summary, You can look at what the district cost is per what the maximum amount could be, and then obviously what the reduced amount could be for each one of those districts. So again, just as an example, Pinewood Knolls would be over $5,000, and they'd be reduced to $1,800 with all the grants and allocations applied to them. So our next steps is any questions from the town board and audience. We would complete the public hearing process, the town board would make a resolution, and then we'd start moving forward with completing designs and, of course, eventually construction, assuming everything passes.
Thank you, Assistant Engineer. Very lengthy and detailed presentation. Very nice. Let's start with comments from the public. Anybody in the public wish to speak for or against this Water District Bond public hearing? Any questions about the costs associated with each district? Not all at once. No. Okay, town board members. Comments, question, we've been discussing this for
Yes, thank you to all our
a while
professionals
now.
for all their hard work that they've done and fighting for all those grants to help reduce the cost for our citizens. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to Congressman Lawler for the $2 million earmark, which went explicitly for the Pinewood Water District, which we had the PFOS problem, and this is going to help them get a clean drinking water source. Unfortunately, that system's a very old system, not a lot of users, and only one well. So they needed assistance immediately. So thank you to him. Any other comments or questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
With that, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing now closed. Do I have a motion to adopt the public interest order in the bond resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public interest order and resolution approved. Thank you very much. Engineer, thank you again. Approve the minutes, additions, okay, courtesy of the floor, anybody wish to speak for or against any resolutions on tonight's agenda? Any general town issues? Bobby Grasso, you're still awake?
I don't have it in front of me.
Engineer got you beat, Nick.
He beat me? Good news. That's awesome. My ratings are gonna go up now, thanks, Bob. Okay, we do have for receipt and file, $500 Hometown Heroes donation from the East Fishkill Rotary. Thank you, Rotary. And also a resolution to acknowledge May as Mental Health Awareness Month. We'd like to put those as receipt and file now, as it is not, it doesn't pertain to town business, so we don't have resolutions that don't pertain to town business. We receipt and file them for the future. Okay, resolutions. We've waited long enough now. Okay, Resolution 1, Councilman Arco.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we appoint John Rispoli to position of police officer with a salary in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So the police chief and his staff put forward Officer Rispoli to us as a transfer from the DEP, correct, Chief?
That is correct, Supervisor.
Would you like to add anything?
I think we got extremely lucky with Officer Rispoli walking through the door to our police department, and is going to be a welcome addition.
Excellent. Any comments or questions from the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations. Chief, would you like to administer his oath? Present him with his badge?
If we could do that tonight, Your Honor, that would be nice.
Your Honor.
I'm not the judge.
Sorry, I was looking at the bench, old habit. Old habit.
Mr. Clerk, would you assist the chief? Right in front, that's fine. Maybe you stand on this side, because left hand's gonna go on the Bible. There you go.
I, John Foley,
I, George Floyd,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a police officer of the town of East Fishkill
as a police officer of the town of East Fishkill
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Got to get the chief.
Board members, would like to come down and take a picture?
Sure.
Yeah.
You sound like Peter.
Next week. When he comes in next week.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Just let me know the day before.
Congratulations. Good luck.
We're gonna take a group.
It's always nice. In addition to our wonderful police department. Okay, Resolution 2, Councilwoman Flores.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize support for an amendment to the designated Inland Waterways Act to include Fishkill Creek.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? We had, Mr. Feldwig gave us a presentation earlier, explained the benefits of designating the Fishkill Creek as an inland waterway. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go, Brent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Franco, number 3.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize the town planner to seek lead agency status for the town board under SECRA to review construction of the Veterans Memorial Park.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So across the street, we, as people know, we begin the first stages of our Veterans Memorial Park. It's at the part now for us to, we're at the design stage, and this is to be reviewed for SECRA, and the town planner has circulated to the town board. Any additions, anything else that we need to know about that? Just the next step in the process, correct? We took the trees down, we needed to do that before March 31st, right, by New York State law?
Yes, by deadline.
Right, yeah. Any other comments or questions? Hey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Councilman Marinaro, number 4.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize the hiring of seasonal Red Wing Park staff.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? It's that time of year. Councilman Franco, any comments?
Nope.
You see the list attached with the lifeguards, the sub-guards, the gate attendants. We have to come up with another plan for next year for the gate somehow. Comptroller and I and the recreation director have been talking about that. It's just, I don't know, it's, you know, they're young and they're out there alone. It's just not a great system. So, I don't know, we're gonna have to look at something maybe.
That little antique oven, too.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I don't like it. But, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carrie, thank you. Councilman Arco, number 5.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize appointing James Canapa, is that how you say it, as a microcomputer system specialist.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So we've had for several years now, when I became supervisor, we hired
Sullivan Data.
called Sullivan Data, and they were excellent, and they did many municipalities. And just like some of these other smaller companies, they weren't that small, they had a lot of municipalities that they did business with, but they were acquired by Logically, a large company. And when you get that, you lose some of the day-to-day, intimate work that they do, and it just got, I don't know, it just got a little funky and, what, clerk?
No, you asked me if I remembered the old people before that.
Oh, you're saying old people now, okay. So it's at the point where we found this gentleman, James, who he's a microcomputer specialist, and this will give us much better service for the entire municipality. IT is very, very important. We have a full-time police department that works 24/7, and they can never be down, and that's, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, a lot of coordination, and also, of course, our servers and everything else for town hall have to make sure that they're maintained properly, that we never have an issue. So, any comments or questions? Myself and the town controller has interviewed him several times, engaged with him, and we're very confident of his abilities. He knows the town very well as well. And all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 6, Councilwoman Flores.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize the supervisor to execute 4 out-of-district water usage agreements.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Town engineer, you have a memo here that you gave to the town board describing the districts for Fishkill Plains, Hopewell North, and Pinewood, correct?
Actually, it was George who oversaw that.
Oh, George, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so 2 of the 4 properties are related to the Pinewood Knolls connection, which was part of the public hearing we just spoke of. We got to go through the procedure to make sure that we're allocating waters properly. And then 2 are for 2 small businesses, or 2 businesses, one in Fishkill Plains and one in the Hopewell North. They will all be using water from the Cannon Well system.
And they're out-of-district users, so they'll be going to 1.25%, correct?
Yes, they will pay a connection fee as well as they will always be considered an out-of-district user.
And just so all the other members of the other water districts that are impacted here, anybody who gets onto a water system or sewer system for that matter, they don't get on for free. What we charge is a connection fee, which is, there was costs when those pipes were first put in the ground, and all the people of that district are paying for that. It's called a capital cost. So fast forward, just say for instance, I don't know, it was a 30-year bond for one water system and they've been paying for 20 years and now a new user comes on. Well, they have to pay back just as they would as they were a user from 15, 20 years ago, whenever it started. So it's fair and equal for everybody. Is that correct? Okay. Just want to make sure everybody understands that. And of course, for all the viewers at home, any cost associated with any water and sewer district is borne by any of the users in that district. No general town funds can be used in any water and sewer district in the town. Any comments or questions for the engineer? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? There you go, George.
Thank you.
Number 7, Councilman Franco.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize payment of $13,000 to the town of Fishkill for the town share of the Fishkill, East Fishkill joint landfill testing.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Comments. So there was a change in Renew Speedy's permit. We do have a joint landfill, just for those at home, we have a joint landfill with the town of Fishkill that we both we share the costs in, and unfortunately, some of those costs are going up. We are required to do new tests for this effluent toxicity. Thank you. Can't say the word. And other emerging contaminants like PFOA, PFOS, several times a year. And that costs us $26,000, our share 50%. So this resolution will increase the amount. We do budget every year for the joint landfill, but this is the first time in, I don't know, long time that we had to increase
So,
the cost.
Mr. Supervisor, is that monitored by the state, or is that the town of Fishkill? that
Now,
does that?
the town of East Fishkill and Fishkill, we hire an engineer that we oversee for all the testing, anything that has to do with the maintenance of it, and we split the cost 50/50.
Okay.
We did try to lower some costs for some of the mowing. We tried to get our highway that do it every other year, our highway department 1 year do mowing, and then their highway department the alternate year, and, whatever we could save, we try to save. But there's state laws that we have to adhere to with the joint landfill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, number 8, Councilman Marinaro.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize the tax receiver Ann Goldsmith to attend the New York State Association of Tax Receivers and Collectors Conference.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Our tax receiver, Ann Goldsmith, is requesting to attend the conference up in Lake George, so it will require an overnight stay. That's why we need a resolution. Thank you to the tax collector for all her help. She's been wonderful. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 9, Councilwoman Flores.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize WSP USA to complete a pilot study and provide engineering and construction consulting services for Hopewell Hamlet Water District not to exceed $216,000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So our assistant engineers provided another wonderful engineer's memo. Would you like to explain briefly to the town board?
Sure. So this is actually related to the large interconnection project we talked about. We evaluated this treatment option to use an ion exchange system. We did that work last year. At this point, the Department of Health is looking for us to complete the study and then obviously give them a full design of the project. This would be the remaining engineering steps needed to get us through that point. So we're, very glad that this is a good option on the table. This is a far less costly option compared to a GAC or a granulated activated carbon system. And we think that this type of treatment may be used in some of our other systems down the road, given the new EPA ruling changes. So this is very good for the town for us to be installing this on these wells and then really understand the performance of them moving forward with the other wells.
Excellent, thank you. Any comments or questions for the engineers? No, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Boy, with all these emerging contaminants and the levels that New York State lowers every time for the acceptable levels, anybody at home, for your children become engineers, this is a great state to do it in, that's for sure. All right, Resolution 10, Councilman Marinaro.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we appoint Amy Martin as a permanent part-time typist for the Building and Planning Departments.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So this is a permanent part-timer for the building and planning departments, and we need as many part-timers as we can, so hard to find. Thank you to Gina Griffa, my assistant, for helping with the interviews, because more the better. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Number 11, Councilman Arco.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we award the town-wide paving bid to Clove Excavators Incorporated with a bid sum of $1,495,772.80.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? So this is why we do bids, right, for this. Thank you to our town engineer, Scott Bryant. Thank you to our highway superintendent. Bids go from 2.4 million almost, and the award was for 1.49. What a difference, right? So this is why these are beneficial. I think that we're gonna get a lot of paving done, more so than we thought, because of putting this out for bid. So my hat's off again to the engineer and the highway superintendent. Thank you. Any comments or questions? Greg, did you go through every line by line?
I always do.
Yeah, I know you do, that's why I'm asking. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go, and there you go, highway soup. Thank you. All right. Number 12, Councilman Franco.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize newly created water districts' quarterly rates and fees for 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So for these new districts that we have passed, the West Campus, the Sword-Out District, which is only one user, that's the new senior housing, and the Route 52 Commercial, or the I-Park District, we call it. Those are the rates set per benefit unit. And those are the fixed operational costs for 2024, as you could see on the famous engineer memo. Any comments or questions for the engineers? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 13, Councilwoman Flores.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we authorize posting a 5-ton weight limit, excluding local delivery, on Birch Drive, Rothall Drive, and Lake Drive due to safety and infrastructure concerns.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So as we have new businesses in that corridor down 52, sometimes these trucks, some trucks get lost, and we don't want them on town roads. It's not designed for these large trucks, and the site plan approvals are approved so that none of these trucks utilize our local roads. So with posting this weight limit restriction, then our police department could go out there and write some tickets, right, Chief?
Absolutely.
Okay, then they'll get the message pretty quickly, these trucks.
That's how it happens.
Okay. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, number 14, Councilman Marinaro.
Mr. Supervisor, I move we adopt a negative declaration for Phillips Road and Route 216 improvements.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So as we are looking forward to a traffic improvement on Route 216 and Phillips Road, as everybody knows, that's a very dangerous 216 with that big curve where you make a left onto Phillips Road. Terrible, terrible curve there. There's been multiple deaths on that curve, hence why we've been trying to get a mitigation for that area of town where you go onto Phillips Road. So I'd like to thank our engineer too for being creative and coming up with this design, and hopefully we could get it done. And when will we be thinking going out for bid for this?
Next month.
Next month, okay, wonderful. Any comments or questions for the engineer? on this? Everybody knows we've been talking about this for a
Yep.
while.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. That does it for the resolutions on the agenda. I do have two from the floor. Do I have a motion to appoint Anthony Rappa as a seasonal laborer for the Highway Department? He will be paid an hourly rate of $17.50 an hour.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go, Highway Soup. Tell, who's that for, Butch?
That's for Butch.
Yeah. And do I have a motion to appoint members to the Recreational Advisory Board? Rich Ueli is appointed as chairperson for the term of 1 year, and Jordan Bledsoe to be appointed as a permanent member to the advisory board for a term of 5 years.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion about that?
Yeah, Mike Keyser resigned. Thank him. He was the chair of the board for many, many years. He did a wonderful job. We worked very well together. And Rich Ueli is stepping up.
Okay, Mike Kiesler, thank you very, very much, all the years of service. It's hard to get volunteers, it really is. We're very thankful for all our volunteers in our community. If anybody is interested in volunteering on any boards, please contact my office, contact any of the board members. We'd love to get you involved. And good luck to Mr. Ueli and Mr. Bledsoe. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay. We do have a budget transfer. Everybody's received that from the town controller. So there is one change that I have to make. On one of the lines you see, we have two vehicles, one for the engineering department and one for a new MS4 officer. So after discussion with the town engineer and the town highway superintendent, the vehicle we identified for the MS4 officer is not going to be adequate. We were just looking for like a Jeep, so we need a pickup truck. So I need to change from 30,000 to 42,000 to revise that budget transfer. So that would be the only change that I'm making. Has everybody had a chance to speak to the comptroller? He sent a very detailed email about changes. I mean, the budget transfer. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So that's amended then.
To 42,000.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a problem with that, which I guess they bid out.
I think we already have pricing on it, so that should be fine.
Because if not, then we'll have to do something next month.
It's state contract bid.
Yeah.
It's under
State
state
bid.
contract. yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, comments. Highway Soup. How you doing? Good. You stayed away through the assistant engineers,
Very interesting presentation.
yes, yes. So,
Our sweepers are out and about in town, so they are hitting all our roads, they're making their way. We've also been doing a lot of pipe work up on Wonderland, getting that ready for our paving, and also on Blueberry, drainage repairs. Our jet vac has been out in the watershed area all this month. We've also completed all the catch basin cleanouts on every road off of Hillside Lake Road. So all those side developments have all been done, Hillside Lake as well. Also, we've been over on a couple problem areas over on Alexander Road for some basins, Devon Farms, and White Pond Road. So our jet vac there has been busy. We've also been out with the grade all for ditch line work. We did a little collaboration with the state on Old Route 52 and 52, which we also paved that area in-house after the drainage work was complete over there. Easement work, we've been over on Brandy Lane, cleaning out that easement and working our way also down towards Dogwood Knolls Golf Course so that that water all flows properly. Tree work, we've been on White Pond Road and Birch Drive and Frost Road. Our beautification department has been out planting trees in the Hopewell Rec area and also at Redland Park. Our recreation crew has been starting to cut the grass in all the fields and all throughout the town and getting our fields ready. In our recreation department, we are looking for some more seasonal help. So if anybody has anyone that's 18 years older or older that's looking for a summer job, part-time job, please contact us at the highway department.
Please, please.
Yes, we
Get
are
those
looking-
kids working. Throw them out of the house.
Even retirees we would take too, as well.
Retirees, but get those kids out of the house,
That's what
these
we need.
18, 19-year-olds, they
We
stay
need
in the
them.
house all day.
You need
Get them to work, get them a job. Tell them to work at the highway department, get them
We're looking.
outside.
We're looking.
Breathe some fresh air.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you.
Also, our new MS4 officer started this week, or actually a couple weeks ago, and I met with him and our engineer department over the last couple days, and coming up with some plans, going over the new permit, so that we're all in compliance. He's also working with our jet vector crew very closely, and also our sweepers, keeping, logs and records of all what goes on in those areas. Oh, that's pretty much it for me.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much it.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Highway Soup.
You're welcome.
Police Chief,
Hello, Supervisor.
how's it going?
It's going well.
All right.
Wow.
What's going on at the PD?
Nothing much. I'd first like to start off, but I always start off with nothing much. Thank you for your efforts with the new hire. It was a process, and I think we nailed it on it altogether, and I appreciate your efforts, so thank you. As far as the police department goes, with the traffic and crime report, local agencies, us included, are starting to ramp up our grant-funded traffic details, including aggressive driving and seatbelts, so we will be out there enforcing as well as the county and the state, so just watch out for that. Our body cameras have been rolled out for the past month. They've been very effective. They are deterring, I think, debunking some bogus complaints from people that don't like getting traffic tickets or being arrested, and I think it's been very helpful on that front. We're very proud of passing our latest New York State accreditation site inspection. That is where they go through our property evidence room, or the building, go through some of our records, and make sure we're up to snuff. And we passed that with flying colors. One of the things that we're very proud of and take great pride in is the amount of training we do and the professionals that we have here at our department. And they were blown away by the amount of hours that we spend training. And I think that's been a good reason why over the past few years we were able to produce such quality officers here in East Fishkill. We're looking forward to doing a liaison ride-along very shortly. We're going to do it on several shifts, and I think that's going to be a productive measure on our end. I'd like to thank the PBA for their help with the Easter egg hunt that was done after Easter, and I'd like to thank them for ponying up the dough for the petting zoo. This month, we're going to be doing firearms training. Anybody that wants to come, they're invited to that. And on a set...
What's that?
Interested. Firearms training.
And where is that?
We do that at the Waterkill Gun Club.
When is that?
We haven't scheduled the date, but it will be probably the second or third week in May.
Oh, yeah, mark it down.
I'll keep you posted. On a sad note, we are losing our longtime police assistant, Jessica Frederick. We wish her well on her journey, but she's been a dependable police assistant for the past, I want to say, longer than I would like to admit that I've been there, but I think we've been together for about 12 years at the department, and I'm going to wish her well. So she will be missed. And that's all I have.
Is Ms. Frederick, is she a resident?
She is not a town resident, but still valued in.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to know if she was a
drawing a
resident.
line on.
Yeah, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, Chief.
You're very welcome.
Councilman Arco.
Yes, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, you.
Awesome, awesome. Today I got to talk to the crews on the vacuum truck. I know we talked about it a lot, but it's nice to hear the productivity that they're getting out of the new truck versus the old truck. Most of the bugs, you know, when you buy a new vehicle that size with so many complex systems, it takes some time to get all the bugs out. Now that the bugs are all out, most of them, they're running almost a full shift with the truck every day. And we're ahead of schedule from last year this time, as far as the quantity of basins that we've cleaned out. And they're also, the capabilities of the new truck, they're able to, once they do the service on the one basin, they're done. They don't need to go back with another machine because the old truck didn't work, so everything's working out great there. I drove around with the supervisor today, kind of taking a look at some leftover storm damage, shoulders that need to be repacked, and so we've got a chance to drive around today doing that. The weather's been great, so he's getting a lot done. Fingers crossed, at least until Saturday, Sunday, right? Police department, with the approval through the police chief, I've been working on various projects with other police officers. I do want to let you know, I did confirm tonight before I came to the meeting, Officer Froud is registered, is endorsed by an outreach program, so now he can become a trainer for all the police officers for the BLS. And
Quickly, I can't tell you how grateful we are, and we were trying to get that project off the ground for about a year, and then you swoop in, and within a week, he's now approved. And we thank you so much.
No problem. That's, you know, that's what I'm here for. That's what all our liaisons are here for. So, in general, also on life safety side, I worked last year on getting an outreach program for 9 employees of East Fishkill scattered throughout the town that will be BLS trained and AED trained.
Excellent.
So that way we'll have somebody in town hall, we'll have somebody at rec, over at Davis House and highway and so on and so forth. So it's nice to get all this all set and training going. So that's pretty much it for me for the past 2
Excellent,
weeks.
thank you. Councilman Marinaro, how are you doing?
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Supervisor. So as far as fire department, I attended a meeting April 8th with a commissioner meeting. So their main discussion that night was how to retain volunteers with our local fire department. Right now there is some kind of a push from the union down New York City to kind of make our local fire department non-volunteer. And I just want the community to know, I don't have the exact figure, I will get that probably in the next town hall meeting. The big saving cost in the taxpayers in this community by us utilizing our volunteers, it's unbelievable the amount of money that these people every day, they save us. And the benefit, I mean, their training is just as good as and equal to the New York City Fire Department. Our EMS does an excellent job. Their response is unbelievable, and they cover the whole town with no issue. I say to the community, like the town supervisor many times mentions, it is extremely important to participate in our local fire department. No matter what age, there is different things that we could all do, from fire police to driving. Please join if you can and dedicate whatever time you could put into this program. So there was the basic discussion that night, and again, I want to thank the commissioners for their paying attention to this issue. It's really important for our community. As far as their stats, seems like it wasn't really a busy month for them. The only amount of calls that I see is the EMS. They covered 193 calls for the month. As far as fire and everything else, not as many. Total calls for the month was 235. Again, I want to thank the fire department the volunteer fire department for their dedication to our community. Also, on another note, yesterday I met with our local chief of police, and basically our discussion was regarding how to better utilize our law enforcement locally to connect with our local business community. We want to make sure that the petty theft that is occurring sometimes is not overlooked. I know that they do a great job, and if there is any way that could be improved, we had a nice discussion, and probably the chief is going to come up with new ways to improve that. And that's going to be a plus for our local business community. Right now, there is some small crimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, chief, a lot of times it's outsiders coming into our community.
That's
Committing these little crimes, and we want to deter that because we want to make sure that East Fishkill is a solid community.
That is correct, Councilman, and the big thing for, even if that business owner finds it to be a little crime, to report it. Give a call, and we'll come out and find out how little it was or nothing at all. So that's one of the major steps is reporting the issue.
That's all I have.
Excellent, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Franco,
Good evening.
how are you?
Fantastic, how are you?
All right.
I'd like to congratulate East Fishkill Baseball. At the request of our Recreation Director, Christine Selbach, they put in for a betterment grant through the Hudson Valley Renegades and Heritage Bank, and they won. $10,000 grant, and they are putting it in for Lee Town Field, which is fantastic. They'll be starting that renovation sometime between May 1st and May 13th. The Renegades bring all of their field crew in, their head field guy, and they take care of all the issues that Lee Town faces. So we're excited about that. So congratulations to them. To accommodate working residents with registrations and lake passes, the rec office will extend their hours on Wednesdays starting on May 8th. Wednesdays, it'll be from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Some program reminders. Monday, May 6th starts registration for most summer rec programs. Red Wing Lake Passes can only get them in the rec office. Red Wing swim lessons and swim team, summer camp trips, basketball camp, fishing camp, and youth golf lessons. Early registration for camp is still open. For adult programs, something new this year, we have women's basketball, 18 and older. Games play at Hopewell Rec on Monday evenings. Co-ed sand volleyball registration has started, and men's basketball registration starts May 6th. A few town trips to note. Tickets sales start on May 6th for a city field trip to see the Mets against the Red Sox on September 4th. $100 for the seats. They're on the third base foul line, sections 129, 18 to 22. Tickets are also on sale May 6th for Yankee Stadium, so you could see New York's varsity baseball team, the Yankees, against the Angels on August the 7th. And those, again, are $100. Tickets third base foul line, sections 132, rows 3 through 5.
You get to be with Bill Green the whole day.
Maybe they should pay us.
That's right, you should pay them.
Saratoga trip, August 15th. To register, they can call the rec office or go to our website and register.
All right, great, thank you. And congrats to our rec department for getting that field redone by the Renegades. Awesome
Yes,
news,
well,
great.
that was the baseball league they put in the grant,
Yeah, great.
but
Thank you, thank you.
Christine found the grant and pushed them to apply for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
Councilwoman Flores, how are you?
Well, can't complain. Keep them busy, as you said.
Yeah, I know that.
Our committee continues to be working very, very hard on our comprehensive master plan. And during the month, we've had numerous discussions on housing and economic development. We appreciate the opportunity to meet with the business owners last week. We got some really valuable feedback that we're incorporating into our timeline as we work on this plan. Our upcoming meeting next week is going to focus on open space and agriculture. We've got a couple of great guest speakers coming in. We'll have Matt Sabelico coming to talk with us and share his thoughts and ideas, as well as Jennifer Fimble, who is with agriculture and horticulture at the Cornell Cooperative Extension. So we're looking forward to that as we work on that chapter. And I would say if you did not have an opportunity to participate in the survey, we had great response, but if you didn't have an opportunity or you have additional thoughts or ideas you'd like to share, you can email them at any time to eastfishkillplan@gmail.com. So please send any ideas that you
We'll
have.
get that up on the website and the Channel 22.
Thank you. And then finally, what I'd like to mention is school budget season is upon us. And as all of you know, school taxes by far make up the majority of our property taxes. So it's really important to be informed, understand what's being proposed in your district's budgets. If you're not able to attend the meetings, the budgets are posted, the proposed budgets are posted on the district websites. I know there's been a lot recently about the Carmel School District budget challenges, so really important to be involved, be engaged, and to vote on May 21st.
Oh, I heard from one of the trustees from the Carmel Central Schools that they passed their budget last night with a 0. Yeah, that's what he
It was
said.
a late night meeting.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. Clerk, you look like you were sleeping.
22 minutes, no, that was terrible. No, that was him, you only went 19.
See?
Bobby was right. No,
Well, I
just
didn't
like,
say to make any comments, I just said hello.
just like to thank everyone, I just got back from training yesterday. There's 933 town clerks in New York State, and believe it or not, well over half of them are women. Probably like 850 of them to be exact. But it's very good to go and you learn and you hear what other towns are doing and how things are done. And when you hear some of the nightmare stories throughout the state, we're actually doing really good. But thanks, it was good to come back and get some things, throw some things. I gave Mark some stuff I got, he already threw it away. So we got progress.
Well, thanks, Clerk, thanks for all your work, and thank God you attended the training. And thank you to his staff, of course. No, just kidding, Clerk. We do have a food drive that we've been doing. Started beginning of April, ends April 29th. So if you haven't dropped off anything to the food drive, please do so. 3 locations, one at the Highway Department, one at the Town Hall, and one at the Recreation Office. So if you could do that, that would be great. It benefits all the local food pantries. We do have an event this weekend, 2 events. One is for our East Fishkill Historical Society, located on Kensington Drive, right in Hopewell Junction off of Palin Road. If you have never attended there, visited there, please go. It's so great. It really is. Wonderful, wonderful property, lots of buildings to see. This weekend, it's their Civil War weekend. And it's Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on Sunday, what a treat this is, we have our very own Hudson Valley Council Band going to be performing there from 1 to 3. Vinny and Althea Richards, East Fishkill residents, run the band. Thank you for all you do. So please, if you have time, go visit them. It's on Kensington Drive at the East Fishkill Historical Society, and it's their Civil War weekend. And on Saturday morning, 9 a.m., is our Arbor Day celebration. That will be at the Davis House, located on Ann Avenue, right off of Church Street, right here in town. That's at 9 a.m. on Saturday. So please come out to any of those events if you can. It's a lot of fun. Bring the kids. And it's going to be a nice weekend, so I'm looking forward to it. Our next town board meeting is our workshop on May 9th, And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thanks. Have a good night.